All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a real-life legal mystery, a story that comes from a homeowners association about a whole lot of money that just vanished. We'll look at one homeowner who demanded answers and a final verdict that, trust me, might surprise you. So let's start right here with this number, $49,050. And yeah, that 50 cents is important. This very specific, kind of huge amount of money, it is at the absolute heart of our story today. See, on October 22nd, 2018, this exact amount of cash was pulled out of an HOA's operating account. It just disappeared. Then, a little over a month later, poof, it's back. The same amount redeposited. But here's the kicker. Nobody told the members why. So what do you do when something like that happens? Well, let's get into it. We're going to look at how one homeowner decided to fight back. And, what's really fascinating is what her case tells us about the strict rules that govern any formal dispute. Okay, so our story really kicks off with one person. Her name is J Bartle. And she saw this weird transaction in her HOA's books and basically said, no, I'm not just going to let this go. She started demanding some real answers. And get this, she didn't just, write an angry email. Nope. She took it to the next level. She filed a formal petition with the Arizona Department of Real Estate. And that move, it triggered an official hearing with an administrative law judge. This just got real. Now, for her to actually win this thing, she had to clear a very specific legal hurdle. It's called preponderance of the evidence. It's super important to get this right. We're not talking about a criminal trial here where you have to prove something beyond a reasonable doubt. Nah, she just had to show that her side of the story was more likely true than not. A little over 50%, basically. So here's where it gets really strategic. Her entire case, the whole thing, was built around one single, very specific rule in the HOA's own playbook. She wasn't just arguing that something felt fishy. Her argument was that a specific bylaw had been broken. It's like a laser-focused legal attack. If she could prove it, she'd win. But if the facts didn't fit that exact rule, well, the whole thing could just fall apart. And this is the exact rule she pointed her finger at. I know, it's a wall of legal text, but stick with me, because it's the foundation for her whole argument. It basically spells out in painstaking detail what the HOA's treasurer is supposed to do. And her claim was simple. That weird $49,000 transaction, it broke one of these duties. Okay, let's break that down into plain English, shall we? That big block of text basically says the treasurer has to do all this stuff. Deposit money, get board approval to spend it, keep good records, get an audit every year. You get the idea. The whole case for J Bartle came down to this. Could she prove that the disappearing and reappearing money violated one of these 7 specific jobs? All right, so let's fast forward to the judge's decision. After months of back and forth, the judge finally had a ruling. And trust me, it is not what you might expect. And yeah, getting to that decision was a marathon, not a sprint. The money moved in late 2018. She filed her case in April 2019. And it took all the way until January 2020, after hearings and even rehearings, to get a final answer. The wheels of justice, right? Okay, and this is the part that will make your head spin. This is a direct quote from the judge. He actually says, there's evidence suggesting the whole thing may have been in violation of the law. He saw the smoke. But, and this is a huge but, he concluded that Ms. Bartle hadn't proven it violated any of the specific duties of the treasurer that were listed in that one bylaw she built her case around. This right here, this is the absolute heart of the whole matter. You see the split? On one hand, you have the feeling, the gut instinct that something shady went down. The HOA wasn't being open. But on the other hand, you have the cold, hard legal proof. And in the end, just feeling like something is wrong isn't enough to win a case that's pinned to one very specific rule. The judge basically said, I see what you're saying, but you didn't prove what you said you were going to prove. So there you have it. Even with the judge himself saying, yeah, this looks pretty bad, J Bartle's petition was dismissed. The judge had to rule in favor of the HOA. They were officially the winners. So what in the world do we take away from all this? I mean, this isn't really a story about one HOA or one person's fight. It's a lesson, a huge lesson about the power of being precise. Honestly, this whole case is just a masterclass in how these things work. It's not enough to ask, was this wrong?
You have to ask which specific rule was broken. Your proof has to connect directly to that rule, like a key in a lock. The judge doesn't get to just go with his gut. He's bound by the letter of the law, just like the HOA is supposed to be. It's that classic battle, the spirit of the law versus the letter of the law. And in this courtroom, the letter won, hands down.
And that kind of leaves us with a pretty tough question to chew on, doesn't it? You have a situation where the facts feel right, where a judge even says something seems off, but the specific rule you picked doesn't quite fit. Is that justice? It really makes you think about that razor-thin line between what feels wrong and what you can actually prove is illegal according to the book.